What's going on? Coach Jason here.
Coach Patrick.
We are back with another episode of the Mach 1 method.
Boom.
Today we are going to be talking about sleepy time. Sleep is the best, man.
I'm one of those people that I'm going to be talking about this from a coaching perspective, but I need to take my own advice. So
Yeah, it's hard when you have a 2-year-old.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess why are we even talking about sleep on a podcast where we talk about all things gym, health, fitness, nutrition?
I mean, this all back here, for those that can't see, we're in the facility. So this is where the magic happens, right? This is the catalyst for growth, the catalyst for change. We're over there putting ourselves under load, under stress to make adaptations for the body. But this is essentially breaking the body down, right? We're sending the signal for break it down, but we need sleep to build it back up, right? So if we're constantly in a state of break it down, break it down, break it down, break it down, but we never have to build it up, we're actually compromising our gains, compromising our results, losing muscle, risking injury, all those negatives that you associate with potentially poor training or poor recovery, like that's an overtraining mentality or it's an under recovery mentality, right?
Exactly.
And sleep is one of the best tools for recovery.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot and we'll continue to talk a lot about how important nutrition is for that. But, for today, sleep is just as important. And like what you're saying is totally true. Like you put the work in here, the results don't happen if you don't come here, but the results are also going to be inhibited and slowed down if you're not putting just as much effort into your recovery.
Mm-hmm.
You have to treat your recovery just as hard as you do your training.
Mm-hmm.
So if you train really hard in the gym, but you don't really care about what kind of food you're putting in your body or what time you're going to bed or what time you're waking up or any sort of like sleep habits you're having, then you're not really putting a full effort into the results you want, and kind of vice versa. Maybe your nutrition and your sleep is pretty solid, but you're not working hard in the gym. You would taper your expectations accordingly. So make sure that, we're not, expecting something different if we're not putting in the work, at home. And, something I like to always refer my thoughts back to is, a training session is 60 to 90 minutes, but sleep is
8 hours,
like
hopefully.
8 hours at least, hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
right? So how are you not going to put as much effort into something that literally takes more of your day than what we do in the facility?
24-hour day, 1/3 of it's dedicated to sleep, Yeah, absolutely. And I would say, like, from a coaching perspective, I primarily refer to it when we're talking nutrition or recovery, but, we'll have athletes come in, they'll wonder why, like, they're not putting out max force, they're kind of in, like, a slump with their lifting. Like, one of the first questions I ask is addressing the big rocks or the pillars, right? So we have training. Are you lifting heavy? Are you moving often? Are you eating enough? Calories, carbs, fats, all of it, right? And then are you sleeping enough, right? And then hydration, right? So those are the big 5. So sleep makes it into the top 5 questions for every potential consequence that you may experience in the gym. And I think proper sleep is very underappreciated because you may get 6 to 8 hours, but is it quality sleep?
Right.
That's the other conversation.
Exactly. So in terms of approaching how to get better sleep, because it's one thing to talk about it, but like how do you train your body to sleep better? In my opinion, I think it is something that can be worked on and can be improved upon. Our bodies are creatures of habits.
For sure.
If you're going to bed at the same time, you're waking up at the same time, your body is going to just adhere to that schedule like clockwork, right? So I actually was listening to another podcast that it was like a sleep expert, sleep doctor talking about it. He was suggesting that the time you wake up being regulated is more important than the time you go to sleep.
I heard that too.
Maybe a different podcast, but I think like after I heard that, I kind of thought back to it. I'm like, you know what? It's like it kind of makes sense because that's how we suggest people approach their training too. You know, if you have like a bad training session, we don't recommend people go back and like redo the training session. You just move on and you get back into your regular rhythm. If you have a bad night's sleep, you're not necessarily gonna, you know, you might feel tired and you might wind up going to bed like earlier than you normally do, but you want to do that with the same intention of, okay, I'm still gonna stick to my schedule. If I'm waking up at 5:30, 6, 7, whatever it is every day, I'm gonna make that a regular habit in my routine to keep my body on pace.
Mm-hmm. I would say like one of the biggest life hacks I've ever heard is on that topic. Waking up at the same time every day, no matter what the day is, right? So take the weekend, for example. You're up at 4:30, or, you know, doing the morning commute, you're grinding, and then the weekend comes and you sleep till 9 or 10, right? Monday comes around and you feel you got hit by a bus, even though you just caught up on your sleep, right?
Catching up is like caveat.
Yeah. So with that, like if you come back to sleeping on the weekends, waking up at the same time, your body's going to recognize that pattern. And then through that, it's going to say, all right, this is just the time we wake up now. No alarm clock needed, yada, yada, right? And then because of that, you'll have a little bit more of a routine. Your system's going to be regulated. And you're actually better off having like a nap to catch up on that rather than trying to extend your sleep. Right?
Naps are so underrated.
Yeah.
I mean that like with like in the most unironic way possible. Like it really is like if you need to sleep midday, like a 10 to 15 minute cat nap like does wonders.
For sure. Like a nap, you'll actually get better recovery rather than sleeping for 10 to 12 hours on the days that you do have it in your schedule to get away with it.
Absolutely.
Set the alarm clock, wake up, and then find time midday, take a little cat nap.
Yeah. I've done it like
dog nap.
I've done it several times. Like, you know, we have long shifts here. You know, sometimes we're here at 5:30 until 8:30. You know, we have long days here, and there's times where we got to take a nap. And I think if I had to give a key tip as a amateur, maybe a napper myself, it's set an alarm for 10 minutes. Close your eyes. Whenever I tell people that, they're always like really skeptical. Like, oh, if I'm taking a nap for an hour or two. And I'm like, try it. Try 10 minutes. Close your eyes. You don't have to get and curl up in a bed. Like, if you could lie down somewhere, great. Set an alarm for 10 minutes. It goes off and get up. Grab a glass of water and just start moving around. In my experience, that after 10 minutes, you wake up, you might feel like you got like hit in the face. Like, where am I? But like, your body wakes up and like it's like a hard reset almost.
Yeah. All control delete action right there.
Literally. So that would be my biggest like tip for anyone who's like skeptical about trying a nap if they're tired midday.
I don't even think you necessarily have to get into like a full sleep for that 10-minute nap.
That's exactly.
This is something like they practice a lot in yoga, but like more of a meditative state where you're just laying back, you close your eyes, you're sprawled out, you're just in a full like sleep dead position, right? You just breathe in, breathe out slow. You kind of just like melt into the floor. You take all the tension out of your body and you just relax into it, right? And then
it's almost like you could hear, but you can't think.
Yeah, exactly. Alarm. You go by wiggling your fingers, wiggle your toes, wrist, ankles, bend the knee, bend the elbows, turn the head, and then you just kind of like
you wake up,
and then you're like, wow, that was nice, you know? But really, all you're doing is you're getting into a parasympathetic state, which is what you need for that rest and recovery.
Yeah.
So that's the takeaway.
I completely agree. And like the best naps are the ones that you're describing like that. What would be some nighttime bedtime rituals you would have or tips you would have for people?
I'm very much a like shower before bed kind of guy, right? So for me, like shower, get clean, feel refreshed. That's also like decompression time where like you just are like sitting in the water and you're just like about everything, right? And then you're like, all right, I'm clean. All of my sins for the day are gone. And then, you know, you just put the phone away. I put my phone away from the mattress, like where I can't reach it, and then plug it into the charger, go lay down, and I just work on kind of that breathing that I was just talking about, where it's like, they're just like, next thing you know, done, you know? So like, quick rinse, put the phone away, and then get into some like light recovery breathing. That's like my go-to. But you can also take that up a notch. You know, some people need a bedtime routine where, right, all right, I'm going to get a glass of water, I'm going to journal, I'm going to clear my mind, I'm going to write down my thoughts, I'm going to prep my meals for the morning, I'm going to get my gym clothes in my bag. Like, they're going to do a laundry list of things just so they don't have to go to bed and, you know, sit up and be like, I forgot something, right? It's all done, stress-free, and sometimes just pre-planning, taking the stress out of the equation is what you need to fully relax and then go to bed. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably, if I assume, like most people's difficulty with going to bed has to do with having a lot on their mind.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're one of those people that has a lot on their mind and you just can't clear your head and get into a relaxed state, maybe it's worth making a part of your routine to like, hey, maybe you're not going to do work at night necessarily, but like maybe you're just going to lay things out for the next day. So you have a little bit of like peace of mind that it's like, okay, you have things set up. You could like not worry about it. And that might help you relax a little bit.
One of the best things about the military is you wear the same thing every day, right? So like, you don't have to worry about what shirt you're wearing. You got your boots by the door, you got your uniform set, you wake up, do your hygiene, get dressed, and you go, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, they take the thinking out of it.
If that's something that you're worried about what you're wearing, like prep your clothes for the next day.
Exactly. And like, it takes the thinking out of it. So like, you get into a routine. So that way on a moment's notice, you just go and do what you have to do, right? And like, if you take that concept and translate it to like everyday life, it's like, all right, I have to wear this for work tomorrow, or you know what, it's casual Friday, so I'm going to wear my jeans. Like, let me put my jeans out so I don't have to pick what I'm going to wear tomorrow because it's different, right? You know, take like a little planning the night before just to relax your mind. Like, that goes really, really like into the beneficial realm of like sleep quality because you can relax.
Yes. I guess on that note also, we talked a lot about like sleep in general, which is great. But I think one thing that's like important to talk about too is, you know, relating this all to the gym, you know, which is kind of what we're talking about, is, you know, life happens. Sleep isn't going to be perfect all the time.
Correct.
The gym isn't going to be perfect all the time.
Accurate.
So how do you personally approach, you know, your fitness routine when you're not getting the kind of quality sleep you're looking for? And, you know, how do you let it either affect or guide you?
Yeah, so I would say compared to 2 years ago, like my volume for the day, for the week has been like cut in, I would say almost, right? Like in terms of working sets, I might get to like one heavy and then do some back off sets. I might even skip some back off sets just to preserve some volume, right? Just like get some feelers in there. Accessories, I might go from 3 sets down to 2, or I might push my accessories to a totally different day. So like my main lift will be Monday, my accessories, I save them for Tuesday, right? Like, so it's just like mitigating my stress level essentially to match what I have that day. So exercise is stress on the body. If I can only tolerate this much, that's what I'm going to do, right? Because I started off saying like, you have a higher risk of injury if you have low sleep, right? So the goal of training should be enhancing performance, not getting injured and degenerating your performance, right?
Right.
So, you know, spread it out as needed. It's okay to take a rest day, you know, like if your body's not up for it, maybe you spend a little extra time on the foam roller and going through stretching. If you need to know about stretching, then watch our last episode. You know, there's a lot of different things you can do to kind of like prime the body in a way. Caffeine's a hell of a drug. That's kind of been a staple for survival and training, you know, but I don't want to, you know, be like, I need caffeine to train. Like, so
sometimes you got to recognize when the right time to supplement is, or when, you know, is the time to just let the body relax without it.
Correct. You know, and like sometimes it's better to say, all right, I'm going to do 100 pounds on the lat pull down, uncaffeinated versus let me do 180 after, you know, chugging all this caffeine.
Right. I would say like, I agree with everything you said. I think personally, if I'm tired because I didn't sleep enough, then that might be a reason for me to lower my volume or push my training to the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm tired because my quality of sleep wasn't good, then to me, I would still personally try to get maybe not an all-out training session, but a hard training session in,
Mm-hmm.
because that fatigue on the body, I might put
like a baby.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to it's going to almost force me into a tired state. But that training hard might be more from like a volume standpoint rather than an intensity, because I don't want to hurt myself. Like if I'm, underslept, I'm not going to try to do 90% sets of squats, right? I might do sets of 10 at like 65, 70% and just get the volume in, fatigue the muscles, fatigue the body. That way, like I get home, like even if I am distracted and I have a lot on my mind, I'm going to be so tired physically that I'm like, let me just get to bed.
Yeah, exactly. And then like, there's a little bit of that to where like you reach that point of fatigue that you just crave sleep. You're like, you pass out as soon as your head hits the pillow. And that can be like exercise can help regulate your sleep.
Exactly.
So like
exactly.
if you have trouble sleeping, like get in the gym, move your body. Just don't do it like immediately when you're ready to go to sleep, because then you get that spike in endorphins and then you're a little wired. But when you come down, that's like perfect time to get your head on a pillow.
Exactly. So
I guess to that point though, like we didn't really get into quality versus quantity too much on this episode. So like, I guess to that point, what does good quality sleep look like to you?
Yeah, to me, I know I got a good quality sleep. Probably not as soon as I wake up, personally speaking. I rarely wake up awake. I am always waking up a little bit groggy, but usually my indicator is like an hour later.
Yeah.
Like if after an hour I'm still tired, that's usually my indicator that my quality of sleep wasn't great. But if after an hour I feel like I can proceed through my day as normal for another few hours, then again, indicator that I probably slept decently at best. And that's actually a reason why I try to avoid caffeine in the morning. I usually try to wait, anywhere from 3 to 6 hours after I wake up, put caffeine in my body, because I don't want to like trick my brain. Like if I'm groggy, like I maybe just haven't fully woken up yet. Like I don't want to just like be like, okay, I need caffeine to wake up, because I might just need like an hour to like get up and get moving.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say for me, like I'm around that 1 hour mark as well. Like I can pop up and then just be like, this ain't it. But then like, get moving and then like go about your day and be like, what, I feel good, right? But then there's days where like an hour I'm just like counting the minutes until I can pop open that energy drink or order a coffee, right? It's just like one of those days where like the struggle's real. Then like, that's usually a sign of poor sleep quality, right? I'm talking same hours, same everything, just quality, right? The other thing I would say personally, I get like really bad indigestion in the morning if I get bad sleep. Like I feel like for me, like if I wake up and I'm just like, I feel like my stomach started digesting stuff, but it stopped about halfway through. It's like a weird indigestion thing.
Interesting.
And that's just something that like I personally know and experience. Like I'll get like almost like, I guess like indigestion, lack of appetite. Like I don't want breakfast, and I'm like a big breakfast dude, right?
Yeah.
But like I'll be like, I'm gonna push breakfast an extra hour and see if like that gets things going. But like,
it's funny you say that actually, because for me, I don't think I have the indigestion, but like I probably have the opposite. Like if I got a really good night's sleep, I wake up and I'm like famished.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy crap, like I need to eat like immediately. But I don't think I get quite indigestion, but maybe I'm not as hungry in the morning if I got a poorer night's sleep. And that has to do with like, when you're sleeping, your body is in that recovery digestion periods of it didn't fully complete that process. That makes sense that why you would feel sick. Yeah, buffering, that's a good word.
And like I guess that's a good point about like nutrition as well. Like if you have a hard time with weight management or digestion and like you don't want breakfast, they could look at your sleep schedule, you know, like are you getting quality sleep? And then you have that night of good sleep, you actually want breakfast, like that's probably a good sign.
Yeah. I'd say even, I mean, not to get too off topic because we're talking about sleep today, but like if you're consistently waking up not hungry either, even if you do feel like you are getting a good night's sleep, you might want to take a look at the kinds of foods you're eating. Just like training can be intense, certain types of food digest slower and are more difficult to digest than others. And like your gut and your digestive system might need like periodization, for lack of better terms. You might need, you might, like if you're eating a lot of red meat, for example, like a lot of like red meat is
delicious,
hard and delicious, but it's hard to digest. So you might need to give your gut like a break from hard to digest foods and give yourself easier to digest foods. There's plenty of fiber, things like that to help your body have a better sleep cycle and digest everything properly and absorb all the nutrients.
And I think that kind of caps it all as like everything's about balance.
Yeah.
Right? Nutrition, sleep, training. Like if everything is balanced, you're just going to be in a really good state. You're going to be able to recover from all your training. You're going to be able to fuel your performance. You're just going to optimize your results. So like, don't try and, you know, crash course where you have to get 12 hours of sleep. Don't try and do all this crazy nonsense where you're doing like 75 hard and you're only doing 2 hours of sleep, right? Like you don't want any of that. You want it balanced. You want it regimented. Boring works, you know?
100%. That's like, that's the highlight right there.
Yeah.
And boring is the key. And if you find that perfect balance, then you too can learn to fly one day.
And if you found this podcast boring and we helped you fall asleep tonight, you're welcome.
You're welcome. What better way to fall asleep than the sound of the voices of two soothing coaches?
Exactly. So on that note, let's say good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Knock one out.